Not a betrayer, I promise. But yeah, I was just gonna say good morning, guys. Thanks for being here today. My question is for Jordan. So when the show first started, you were not only playing Khalil, but you were also playing Chuck from Riverdale. Right. So I was very curious about how hectic your schedule was and what that was like for you.
Yeah, so during that time, I was actually flying back and forth between here and Vancouver, where they shoot Riverdale in. It was a lot of work. I'm not complaining about it in one regard, but yeah, so it was a lot of work. You know, you work long nights here, and then you go home, knock out, wake up bright and early in the morning to catch your plane the next day. And I mean, it's time zones too. That's probably the biggest thing that was really grabbing, trying to get more of a handle on. And you know how when you travel, sometimes you can get that like plane sickness, so it was a little annoying with that. But Chris, have fun with that. Thank you. But no, it was a blast. It was a blast. I mean, I love my friends and all of my family over there in Vancouver on Riverdale. Shout out to them. They're great. But you know, it's a great opportunity, and just seeing how everything lined up and was able to work out. I know production is still trying to figure out if we can get something to work out in regards to that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Riverdale was renewed, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you guys for getting up so early and coming to hang out with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask you all, when you first found out Black Lighting was getting the green light and you found out which characters you were going to be playing specifically, what you did to prepare and get in the mindset for these specific characters that are obviously going to be a big deal on TV, playing a lot of firsts.
Everybody always looks to me with good question. I got no time to think.
I'll go first. You want me to go
Yeah.
first? I would say, and I can speak for you two, we just went back and did a lot of research. Thank God this comic book was around before the show was thought of. So we had a lot of material to go back and do tons of research on. And the cool thing about it was the creators and the writers, they really pay homage to the comic book. So it was like a direct correlation. We could literally go to the comic book and learn everything that we needed to about the show, which was really, really helpful. So walking into it, we knew a lot about the characters. And personally, before I had the audition, I didn't even know Black Lightning existed. Like, I never heard about Black Lightning ever before. I know there was a cartoon that was out, so I just went and did as much research as I possibly could. And when I first got the job, I did not know she was a lesbian until after the pilot.
Yeah. I remember.
We found out together.
No, you knew before I did.
Oh.
Because I mean, you get a little kind of like tunnel vision. So I was just reading about Black Lighting, and I think I was heading to the airport, coming to Atlanta for, I don't know at what point where we might have been filming the pilot at that point. And I remember like texting you going, hey, did you know this? And you're like, yeah, it's in the comic book. And I was like, oh. And then I went back and I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
But I didn't know initially, because before the audition, I didn't know Black Lightning. Yeah, but when I went back, I was like, oh, this is cool. I've never played a lesbian before. I'm always up against, opposite of guys, so this is different. It was a challenge. As an actor, you don't want to keep playing the same characters, the same roles. So for me, it was, an outlet to be creative in a different area. But I would say thanks that it was so much material and comic book and even a cartoon that I was able to research. So yeah, we did a lot of research. And Jordan knew a lot about everything.
I knew a lot of, well, it's funny because when I got the job, I had no idea I was Painkiller. They didn't tell me. I went in and had a meeting with the heads over at CW, and they were just sitting there smiling in my face, like, yeah, congratulations. I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I'm playing Khalil. This will be fun. I'm a love interest.
Did you want to be opposite of China?
Yeah, I knew I was going to be, I thought I was just going to be a love interest. I thought I was just going to be some like random dude that's like there and then cool. And then they showed me, or I found out on set when they came out with, yeah, this is what you're going to end up wearing. Because I was like, this is after I got shot and everything. I was like, oh, okay, so you know, I'll be in a wheelchair and I'll go ahead and I'll do my best and I'll get my, you know, Drake on from Degrassi. I had no idea, no idea. And then when they said, yeah, you're coming back as this, I was like, hold up, what? Oh, y'all knew this the whole time and y'all was gonna tell them, oh, okay, cool. Bet. But that was my experience.
That's very cool. It's, they should do it. Well, it came for me at I was very, financially, I hadn't, I did the series Dexter for 8 years. And then, I did a couple other shows, but I didn't have a big run on anything. And you know, I did another show. There was this weird, mysterious show called The Path on Hulu. You know, I was kind of at a nadir. I didn't have much money, and I got a call and they said, you know, you've been offered this part, and it was I was like, you know, as actors, it's like we're like I said before, professional athletes. You know, you could be batting 300 one season, 140 the next.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's hard. You know, if you're in a slump. You know, everybody's, you know, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread when things are firing on all cylinders. But when you're in a slump and you're not hitting, everybody's calling you a bum. You know. Anyway, when I got this part, it was, you know, it was bum no longer. You know, it was a nice little comeback. You know, and I like being on you know, a network that is so widely diverse, and that, you know, and that's in all age ranges as well. So aside from all that, from the professional standpoint of it being a real relief, I went, you know, the first thing I did was I walked up to the Golden Apple comic book store in Los Angeles, and I bought Black Lightning, and I got the whole compilation of the whole thing.
You must have paid a fortune.
No, I didn't. It was because it was a reprint. It was like $7.
Yeah.
And I read it cover to cover, and there's different iterations of Black Lightning. And one of the first one, Gabby's kind of round, and, you know, he's just a little Tinker Tailor guy. And then he kind of gets muscular and hairy. So I thought, I got someplace to go with this. This is cool. I really, really liked it. And actually, Gabby moved in with his mom in one of the iterations, and I thought I got to be a lover too. That hasn't happened.
Give it time.
So it was a just reintroducing myself to my love of comic books as a real character in this universe. It was a big treat because I grew up on this kind of stuff, and my first knowledge of Black Lightning was in a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah, with Sept.
And in the Saturday Night Live skit, there's a funeral, and all the superheroes come in to say, welcome, and then they kind of say, you know, Black Lightning, you weren't invited, man. And he's all,
Oh, it's hilarious.
it's hilarious. It's Black Lightning on Saturday Night Live. It's like, you know,
You can see it.
it's very cool. It's very funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny. There's a Sinbad.
Yeah.
There's a Sinbad with Black Lightning.
Yeah.
And you know, so anyway, it was a real honor, and becoming part of this is just a real treat. I don't know. Yeah, the first thing I did was walk to the comic book store and buy the comic.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job, James. Hello.
Hi, I'd like to thank Nefessa because last year I brought my 16-year-old son to meet her, and Cord basically swallowed his tongue and was unable to speak. And you were very kind, very understanding. And I was wondering if any of you guys have met a celebrity and found yourself in that fanboy moment where you're like, oh my God, that's...
Yeah, the very first one comes to mind. It was, I was in college, and I was doing a play that Debbie Allen was directing. And she had said, like, the rehearsal process, at one point, like, I was just really kind of rebellious young black man in the role, and she was like, yeah, you know, Denzel would have played this when he was younger, and when he had that, what did she put it, that ricochet body, that's how she put it. And so she, you know, she was like family friends with him, she knew him, so she was said that like, oh yeah, he's gonna come to the show. Thankfully, the night that he came, nobody told me till after the show was over, because I don't think I wouldn't have been, yeah, I would have been like, so after the show was over, we were in the dressing room, and they're like, Denzel's here, and I'm like, what? And I remember going out, and he was right there, and I wound up just hugging him. Like, I was just like, thanks for coming, man. And he was really gracious and complimentary, and that was probably, and then I remember that day, that night, I've kept a diary off and on, and I had just started a new diary at that point. I remember that being my first entry. I met Denzel tonight. So that's mine.
My eyes lit up when you said his name. Like, I was waiting for you to be like, did you meet him? Did you meet him? For me, that was Will Smith. Yeah, I would freak out like that if I met Denzel. Denzel's definitely one of those. But yeah, for me, it was Will Smith. I love Will. I'm from Philly, same area that he grew up in, so that's very meaningful for me. Watching him on TV, coming from the same neighborhood, it kind of gave me the hope and the inspiration that I could do it too. So he actually came to, same thing, a screening of one of my first movies that I shot in Philly, and yeah, I freaked out. I kind of have some of it on video, so a little blurry, but I have proof.
Okay, I was laid off from my roofing job in Boston, Massachusetts, and I went down to Florida, and in St. Augustine, which is the oldest continuous city in America, there was an outdoor historical drama about the settling of this town by the Spaniards. And so for the hell of it, I auditioned, and I got my first professional acting job at $50 a week. Richard Boone, who some of you may remember, which I don't know, but he was a long time ago Western actor who did a TV show called Paladin, Have Gun Will Travel, which was like the coolest show ever, and he had a business card. And he lived in St. Augustine, semi-retired, and he lend his name to the production. The very last night, after, you know, like 120 performances, he came to the show. And there he is, backstage. The guy was tall like you, and larger than life, World War II veteran. I'm like, whoa, it's Paladin. And, you know, I was all little looking up. You know, I was a grown man, but it's still, he seemed so much bigger. It was my first larger-than-life experience with a TV actor. And then he came, we all had party afterwards, we all got drunk together. And it was, and I asked him, what does someone do if they want to continue as an actor? And without hesitation, he said, go to the neighborhood playhouse. And with a letter from him, I actually got in. You know, and that was the beginning of the saga. The guy was enough of a stage actor and everything that when I was earnest and sincere in my question, he answered it. And then we all asked him, what's next for show business? Without hesitation, here's a guy that was in studio things and all that. He said, pay TV. Wow. And this was before anybody ever even heard of it. He was so prescient and so brilliant. And then I'll add one more person. And this was a man that I met when I was an acting student who just gotten out of the neighborhood playhouse, and I was batting 100. I was walking down Fifth Avenue, and out of the Columbia building, which was 555 Fifth Avenue, Bill Cosby walks out. And we're walking, he just stood right next to me. We started walking down the street together. You know, I recognized him, he recognized me just as a young actor. And we were walking down the street a little ways, and we were really talking. We were just like walking like we were old friends. And I said, you know, like, yeah, you're Bill Cosby. And I said, I'm Janie. I went by Janie back then. And he's smoking a cigar, and he says, let me give you a tip. And I was like, this is it. This is going to be the keys to the kingdom. And You know, at that time, he was revered. And, you know, I'm just telling you the true story. And he said, be ready, and you'll always have work. And he crossed the street. And, you know, it was just one actor talking to another actor. It was a real moment in time, and I have never forgotten that. And I kind of like saw him. I said, I'm ready. You know, I learned that actors don't give other actors jobs. You got to get them, but you got to be ready. And that ties into the question of staying fit, working out. You know, keep reading. You know, keeping our instrument in tune.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that Bill Crosby gave me when I was 20 years old.
Jordan, how about you? Oh, before we go to Jordan, James.
Yes.
I know Have Gun Will Travel theme song by heart, every word.
Oh.
There you go.
Paladin.
Gun unstoppable. Go ahead, Jordan. For myself, I would have to say, you know, there's been a couple of times in my life when that's happened. My dad, he's a director of photographer, so he's in the industry as well. So I've had the pleasure of being able to grow up on sets. You know, obviously worked as extra work, stand-in work first. My parents were very, very keen on me doing that first and having respect of that. However, I say that because he was doing a show. He was the DP on a show called The Gregory Hines Show. And Gregory Hines, the late Gregory Hines, he passed away. But I remember just watching him. There was a time where two family friends of ours that are tap dancers, they joined the set and they ended up tap dancing with Gregory Hines. But watching how Gregory Hines dealt with people, watching how he was very personable, watching how he was very grounded and down to earth, and how he would make other people feel special, you know. He ended up dancing with our friends, like tap dancing for a good, I want to say 10 minutes. Like, it was wonderful, it was great to see. But also seeing how he ran that show as well, and how he was able to lead, but also lead with sort of this graciousness, this just happy to be there and be at work. And you can see how that just flowed through the entire crew and through the entire cast. And that's something that I've always wanted to emulate by seeing that example of Gregory Hines. Now, the other example of where I've just been starstruck is going to be on the other end of the spectrum. It was during the time when I was traveling back and forth between Riverdale and Black Lightning. I believe I stopped at home in LA at one point, and then I was catching an early flight back out here, and while I was waiting, I ended up seeing Emilia Clarke. Now, the night before, previously, were the Emmys, and she had won her award, and it was just interesting seeing her sitting there, and I had to go up, and I'm just a huge fan of the show, and Khaleesi, you know, I just totally, what you need, where's the cow, I'll just stay out of his way. But she was so sweet. If you guys ever watch her, I mean, like, she's just one of the sweetest people. So when meeting these larger-than-life, big, high on a pedestal, famous individuals, but seeing the ones that are actually grounded and seeing the ones that are humble, and that's one of the things where it's like, it just makes me be in more of awe of them, because while they may be batting 1,000, they still act as if they're batting $150, you know, and that's the right mentality to have. And so you can see some of those. I work with those type of people too, so it's great. It's a lot of fun, and just, yeah, when meeting artists that are still humble, that's what really puts me in awe.
All right, good. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We wanna make sure we get everybody in before this panel. We're tight on time, so if you can direct probably a question to an individual up here, and because I wanna make sure we get to the last person in his question before we have the break. Okay? She's next. You ready?
Hi, my question is general, but I'll direct it to Cress. I was wondering what it was like to have a deaf person working with you on the set. And my follow-up to that would just be, do you think that you're going to have an actor like Wawa come on the show again, or someone else?
It was cool. I mean, probably, because you worked with him a lot. It was really cool. I mean, he's a good actor, and he was so excited to be there. And I mean, I guess spoiler, he's working with us this year. So yeah, you'll see him again. It was really awesome, and it just adds to the diversity of our show. It just feels like a perfect fit.
Yeah, I'm going to break my own rule if Nafisa can elaborate a little bit on that as well.
Yeah, Theory, he's so cool, and again, it's the diversity keeps coming up, and I think it's so cool to have a deaf actor on the show, and even seeing how they work and seeing how things work with them on set and how things are translated, and it's just really cool to have been able to see him come back as well without giving away too much. So, yeah.
Man, talk about diversity.
Yeah.
Right? Almost the whole gambit. I don't know who's left out.
What up, Luke?
Yeah. Hey.
What's going on, man? So it's not a question. I just wanted to come up here and say thank you for several things. Being one of the few. I don't think a lot of people realize. You're one of the few black television shows on right now. There's no Family Matters. There's no Living Single. There's none of that right now. We don't have Luke Cage. That's been canceled. I hope they continue, to progress with the show, to show positive black families, to show a health-conscious family. We see you running throughout the show all the time with your daughters. You have beautiful, intelligent black daughters on the show. As you just said, it's a very diverse group, and that means a lot. I just wanted to tell you, thank you, and again, I really hope they continue the show, because in my opinion, the Arrowverse is not the Arrowverse without black light.
Thank you.
If I can touch on that a little bit, though, he's correct. But you're in the drama category. But I love Blackish.
That was the first show that I thought of when I thought of Black Family. Isn't that the other show?
I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's the one that.
Blackish.
It's not a family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a mix-ish. Yeah.
And Blackish is getting a spin-off. It's a prequel. A new series coming out. It's them when they met.
Yeah.
And that's another show, although it's still in the comedy realm, but in terms of drama related, he's absolutely right. We're thinking hard.
Well, I mean, historically, when it comes to black programming, historically it's been really heavy-handed comedy, very few dramas, so it's cool to be there, to be doing that.
Yeah, and usually it's negative, drug related or gang, pimps, although Jordan mentioned something earlier about how nice, how incredibly opposite Marvin is in real life to his character that he portrays, man. Just to break away from your natural, character and be a ruthless, murderous. The dude you just want to hug and kiss him when he's sitting next to you.
And he's intelligent. The man is intelligent.
He's smart, yeah.
He's very well read.
Yeah.
Very well read, man.
I don't know if he's classically trained. Did anybody know if he's classically
No, was this his second or first?
Oh, no, he's strictly
Music.
He's new, music. He's acting. He's new to it, but he dives in, and he's got a fervent work ethic. Historically, I've always found that people who we think of that play the best villains, when you meet them in person, they are like the nicest people. James is like one of the examples right here.
The opposite is the good guys are always these jerks.
Yes, I'm a tyrant on set.
horrible?
No, absolutely.
We're perfect. We can pull in another question if the gentleman in back, Aaron, you got somebody with a question?
First thing, I'm here with my wife, and my thing is hi, Chris. Hi. And Chris.
Yeah.
That's my wife love. Every time she's talking about still scooter.